What is compression? Generally, compression is about reducing the difference between the loudest and quietest parts of your mix or your instrument. So taking your mix for example, you might have the loudest part of your mix here and the softest part of your mix here. Compression is about increasing the volume on the softest part so that it's closer to the loudest part and there's less difference between. Now the difference between these 2 points is what's called dynamic range. And dynamic range helps the human ear differentiate between what's noise and what's worth listening to. Now with dance music, there's usually not a lot of dynamic range by the time the song is finished, mixed and mastered. But during this whole process, you need to keep in mind that your song needs to be compressed, but it also needs to retain some dynamic range. If you compress your song so it becomes a waveform brick wall, all the human ear will associate that with is junk. It's noise, it's no good. So what you need to do is keep in mind that there needs to be subtle differences between the peaks and the valleys. And yes, with compression in the mastering stage of your song, you may bring the valleys up and the peaks down so it evens out a little bit, but there still needs to be some difference. That's why in other videos I've suggested when you start mixing that you put your kick drum quite high and mix everything else about 12 decibels lower. And that way you're starting off with a very high dynamic range so that later on when you compress and bring it closer together, you've still got a difference between them so that the human ear is kind of hearing some energy and some life instead of just a noise. So that's it for this tip. If you like it, subscribe, keep making music, and I'll see you next time.
Beast mode.